Everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Crafty Witch, and in this video I'm going to talk about mouse medicine and what it is and how we can utilize it. So when I talk about mouse medicine, I'm talking about the spiritual type of teachings that Mouse has brought to humanity. I grew up in a culture where every animal, every life form has a teaching and has value and worth and is worthy of respect. And unfortunately, when it comes to mice, there's a lot of hatred towards mice. They're often misunderstood. There's a lot of um, misconceptions about them. Yes, some mice do spread disease, but not all. And they do have their place in our ecosystem, a very valuable place in our ecosystem, and they do have spiritual teachings for humanity if we so choose to listen to the spirit of the mouse and what they bring to the table, so to speak. So when it comes to mouse medicine, you can tap into it to help you in your own path on your journey. It could be a one-time thing, or maybe you might choose to work with that energy on a more persistent and regular basis. That choice really is up to you. People that I think would do very well working with mouse medicine, I see like lawyers and people that need to pay attention to small details, maybe like event planners, people that need to investigate into things, really looking over like little details. For instance, perhaps an accountant, somebody that needs to pay attention to like the tiniest details with regards to numbers, that sort of thing. So, what are some of the teachings? Well, paying attention to details, the smallest of details are often overlooked. Uh, and this is one of their teachings that they bring that we can really tap into if we're maybe planning some kind of event and we really need to pay attention to details. If maybe we are in some kind of legal battle or we're going into some kind of contract work, paying attention to the smallest of details, going over things with a fine-tooth comb is one way that we can utilize that mouse medicine. It really helps us in that regard. Another way that we could utilize mouse medicine is being able to really explore your territory and know what resources are there. So one of the teachings that Mouse has is, they have their little home base. They have their little territories. They know where they have food sources. They know where there's a water source, that kind of thing. And every day they go and they explore their territories because things do change. And this is something that we can utilize too. Perhaps we're moving into a new community. Maybe you do some research online. Maybe you hop in your vehicle, you hop on a bicycle, whatever the case might be, and you go and you explore your new territory. And if you're kind of timid, you can maybe tap into that mouse energy to give you the little courage that you're going to need to go and explore your new surroundings. And you might find, small little businesses that you maybe would not find on Google or something like that. Or you might find like little out of the way parks or little neat little points of interest areas in your territory that you would not have discovered if you hadn't gone out on your little exploration. And this ties into another teaching that Mouse brings to us, another spiritual teaching or medicine type teaching, is their resiliency and being able to tap into unconventional resources that maybe would be overlooked or not thought of for their own benefit and for the benefit of their little families. And this is something that you can tap into. Perhaps you've fallen upon hard times. A lot of people have, given what's happening in the world lately for the past few months. And tapping into that mouse energy, that mouse medicine, is a really good way of being able to find perhaps unconventional resources in your area that you might not have thought to access or find or utilize before. So, perhaps like you've lost your job and money is really tight, and maybe you've never ever accessed a food bank before, a food pantry before, or something like that, and you don't even know where to start, where to look. Tap into that mouse medicine energy, and you might be able to find those resources. Maybe a food pantry, a food bank, maybe a local church that gives away food, that kind of thing. Who knows? There's a million different ways you can utilize these teachings and the medicine of mouse in your life. That's just one example. It might be maybe your kid has to create some kind of science fair project, and maybe money is tight and you need to kind of salvage and scavenge supplies. Tap into mouse medicine. You might be able to find things that you would ordinarily not even think of to use to create this project that you need to create. So tapping into that spiritual teaching of mouse, that medicine of mouse, can be really handy. As well as being resilient, being able to find those kind of resources during hard times is another important quality and teaching that mouse brings to us. And so many of us do, throughout different points in our life, experience really tough times. It could be financially, it could be whatever. Tap into that medicine aspect of mouse, and hopefully mouse can guide you to some resources that you might not have otherwise thought to access. Another teaching of mouse is to be humble. And while mouse can be very industrious and very busy all the time, they are a very humble little animal, and it is good to remind yourself to be humble. It's okay to be proud of your accomplishments and stuff like that, but they bring a humbleness, and they're very down to earth, literally, little animal. And if that is something that you want to maybe bring more into your life, that is another teaching that you can utilize through mouse, is to be humble and to be more down to earth. And yeah, also mouse is really good at, like I said, paying attention to the little details. Unfortunately, that can also be their downfall as well. They may not see the bigger picture the way somebody with a lot of eagle medicine or a lot of hawk medicine. Eagle and hawk people tend to be able to see the bigger picture. They see the whole picture, so to speak, but they often don't see the tiniest of details the way mouse does, right? That could be to the downfall of the mouse person. They might get too hung up on the smallest of details that they don't see the bigger picture of what's really happening around them. So just be cautious of that. You want to ensure that there is that balance of being able to see the tiniest of details, but also see the bigger picture too. So just keep that in mind when you are working with mouse medicine. So that is just some of the teachings, the lessons that mouse brings to people. The resiliency, the paying attention to details, being able to go over things with a fine-tooth comb, being able to scout out your territory and find resources that you need, or being able to utilize these new resources that you found in your territory, as well as being able to tap into maybe unconventional items or needs, or not needs, but like unconventional resources that you might thought or never have thought to use, or being able to think of a new way to use those resources, right? So those are all very valuable teachings that Mouse brings, and I hope you enjoyed today's little video, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.